Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Carver Conservation Commission meeting of July 6, 2022. We will start off with our agenda. The first item on our agenda is under discussion slash business. It's a request for a COC, Certificate of Compliance, at 55 South Main Street, DEP SC 126577.
That's a typo, it's 88.
88 South Main?
Sorry about that, yeah.
All right. Noted. 88 South Main.
The DEP number, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have that right.
So that is the...
That was for, if you remember, that was for the wall, replacement of a wall. And when he did the work, he left the old wall in, pulled the new one back after we had talked to him about, you know, the location of it and everything. So, everything's done?
Right.
And you took a look at it?
I took a look at it
Yeah.
today from the water side,
Yeah.
and it looks fine. It looks
Yeah.
exactly what we had approved. It's
Yeah.
it's well laid, large rocks slanted up
Yeah.
to and it goes. The water on Sampson's Pond is a little bit low for this time of year, and the rocks go right to the water's
Yeah.
edge right now. So
Yeah.
it looked fine to me.
Yeah.
It looked like everything that we had asked him to do.
And I went out when he started the work, and he explained what he was going to be doing, the contractor, and I could just tell he was going to do a good job.
Yeah.
So I'm
It
not
looked
surprised
fine.
it came out good. Yeah. So you can sign that.
All right. So we need a
Motion to approve the COC for 88 South Main Street, DEP SC 126577.
Is there a second?
Do you want to say anything?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the request for the COC, 88 South Main Street, SC 126577. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved 5-0.
I mean, I did wait.
Okay,
I think so.
tree cutting, 120 Cranberry Road.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have some pictures. This is the one. Here we go. Yes, okay. This was a couple of trees near the gentleman's house, a couple of white pines. And, you know, there was no issue at all. They weren't ready to fall on his house. So they were
Okay,
dead. Yeah.
and is that close to the entrance to the state forest?
Not far from it.
Yeah, not far. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so
So it's fine. It's kind of like all the other ones when we look at them. We
okay,
never see an issue.
so that was
Gets an
fine.
okey-dokey.
That's-
Okey-dokey.
All righty, great.
Motion- You want a motion?
Yeah, I guess we can put a motion together, yeah.
Motion to approve the tree cutting as described by Brooke at 120 Cranberry Road.
We have a second?
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the tree cutting, 120 Cranberry Road. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, approved unanimously. Discussion of the demand for an enforcement order, Ricketts Pond Business Park.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Germain.
As I haul material out of Ricketts Pond Business Park, I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion.
All right.
So I don't know if you remember, but we had gotten a demand for the commission to issue an enforcement order for Lot 3, for Lot 3, the latest, the two lots in the beginning of Ricketts Pond Park, Business Park. And based on, they had a consultant go out, he took some pictures of the pond, and so this was the lawyer for Pine Barrens, and they wanted the commission to issue an enforcement order. So anyway, we did a site visit last Saturday.
Mhm.
And, I mean, I'll let you guys speak, but we didn't really see anything to issue an enforcement order for.
No, I didn't see anything there either that was, that would have changed any decision that we made. The picture that they had supplied of Ricketts Pond showed some kind of a covering on top of the water.
Yeah.
And that, we don't know when that photo was taken. It could have been taken in the middle of pollen season. However, when we looked at Ricketts Pond last Saturday, the water was absolutely clear.
Yep.
There was nothing on the top of the water
No.
at all. So,
And all the erosion controls were up, that
Yep.
were supposed to be up. Everything, you know, as they've been going along, they've been doing everything that we've asked them to in our orders.
Right, and we also, the gentleman from SLT, Jason, also was telling us about the different piles of dirt
Yeah.
and why they had to move certain piles where they were and what they're
Yeah.
doing to mitigate the blowing of the sand,
Yep.
which basically they can go only so far because sand is windborne.
Right.
If it's really windy, sand's going to blow regardless.
But they do spray it
Yeah, they do.
regularly, you know, when it's really,
They
it's
do.
the
So-
dust and stuff, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
The couple things that tend to, in terms of seeing patterns with complaints from this particular group, one is when they give us documentation. I don't know if there's something that we can provide to the public to help people help themselves, but when they have a certain complaint and they say that a given runoff or a pond or a dig site is this square footage and provide us documentation with actually nothing to scale, we have no way to actually render a decision because there are really no facts before us. This is just sort of that telephone game, like, well, he said, she said, and it looks like this, could be this, but there's nothing to scale. There's nothing backing that up. And the other issue with this particular case is the actual prevailing winds actually blow away from Ricketts Pond, not from the site toward Ricketts Pond. So, in terms of documentation, a couple things I'd recommend to different groups if they're listening or if they're going to be reading our minutes, and that is to, one, bring documentation that is to scale, have some facts to back up complaints and concerns. I'm certainly open to rendering a decision based on empirical data. That makes things really easy. We have a set of bylaws that we follow, and if those things run contrary to our bylaws, it also makes my decision really easy as to how I would vote on an issue. The other is photographs. If they are grainy or if they are, as we've discussed, could be pollen, could be, it could be powdered sugar from the photographer's donut. I have no idea what was on that photo other than it just was not clear as to what it was.
Right,
So
right.
I'm not sure what we have to even discuss about this, other than invite them to come back with some actual data and some information that is something that we can actually look at that makes sense, that is within our purview.
Well, the onus has to be on the complainant to provide documentation that proves their case.
No, I get that,
And
but
in this case, it wasn't.
Yeah, no, I get that, but also I do want us to assure the public that we care about these issues, but if it is somebody just complaining to complain, or if there is actually an issue, I personally want to know about it.
Right.
But in this case, that information has not been brought forth in a succinct or, forgive me, a professional way. So
Right,
that needs to be done.
Yep.
And just to say, Sarah, some of the issues that are, brought up regularly at the site are way out of our jurisdiction. It's on the other portions of the site, the
Right.
sand mining concerns, all that sort of stuff. So, that's something that we,
Right,
it's not near Ricketts Pond.
we make our determinations based on the the drawings that are provided by the applicant, which
Right.
are always, engineered drawings.
Yeah.
And we had them with us, and we saw that, and that was what we had approved with those engineers' drawings from SLT was what we saw. So what was provided by the complainant did not dispute anything or did not override anything that we had approved or saw on last Saturday.
Mr. Chairman, could I add a couple things?
Yes, of course.
Gary Flagg.
Let me introduce you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm used to being...
I
He's my
am
new
remiss.
He's
I
my
would
new
like to
boyfriend, I
introduce
thought.
our new conservation agent, Gary Flaherty, who came from Dartmouth.
Dartmouth, yes.
Welcome, first of all.
Thank you.
Glad to have you on board. And
All
by all means-
just to back up some of the things that were said, on the photos, they should have a date timestamp on them, because, like he said, where'd they come from? And another thing, too, we did check 4 spots between the erosion control at the edge of the work and the pond itself, and on the ground, the leaves and everything, we did not see even pollen, let alone any dust or debris. So it was clean.
Right. Right, and I think we also understood from the gentleman who was giving us the tour that the water table is quite deep there.
Correct.
As well. So we're not, even, there's no sudden discovery of groundwater. Anything that is there now is probably just rain runoff that is going to filter through the soil down to the groundwater, the water table, which is 60 feet, did he say? 60-something feet?
Something to that
It's a
effect.
huge number,
yes.
yeah. Okay. Very good.
So I don't know, do you need to vote to not issue an enforcement? I mean, I'm not really sure. Or just,
We can.
don't know.
Are we, so I guess I would look for a,
You could take a no action at this point in time, vote.
okay. And what would be the result of that, would for the complainant? Would they need to come back with?
Right, everyone said bring us, engineered plans, better photos. That would give them a chance, if they want to do that, they could.
All right,
Up to you.
okay. I think that's probably a way to go. So is that a vote, or is that just a,
I'd vote on it.
okay.
That's a good idea.
Then I'll entertain a motion to take no action at this time on the enforcement order, on the demand for an enforcement order.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to take no action at this point on the demand for an enforcement order for the Ricketts Pond project site. All those in favor of taking no action, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved 4-0-1. While we're on this subject, we're still,
Abstaining, I recuse, so it's 4-0.
Just 4-0.
4-0, okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Jermaine. While we're on this subject, and this would fall under the topics not reasonably anticipated, but it's related somewhat to not the demand for the enforcement order, but for the Save the Pine Barrens organization and other organizations. There seems to be a disconnect between when we are required to release minutes to the public. We have been always under the impression that that minutes aren't in the public domain until we've looked at them and voted on them.
and they're posted.
And they're
Usually,
posted.
yeah.
We've been given actually an open meeting law violation stating that our reluctance to give, not those, but also an order of conditions, is contrary to Mass General Law. And there seemed to be something that said that draft minutes should be available. So I'm wondering if we can get a decision from KP Law
Okay, on the draft.
as to
Draft,
when
okay.
we are required to release minutes by law. And if it's draft minutes, so be it, and that's
Yeah,
fine.
right.
But it's been, and I can say that this is not just specific to this commission.
no, right.
I've heard this on other commissions
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
that until the minutes are approved
Right.
and posted, that they aren't part of the public domain.
I mean, that makes more sense, only because if you make some changes on the minutes, you don't want them going out without the changes.
That's true,
You should have
but
been able
they-
to look at them before somebody else does.
But there's still, even if they're draft minutes, they are listed as such.
Right, right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Oh, I see, yeah.
it's 30 days, 3 meetings to approve the minutes. I do not believe they are public document until they're approved, because they're subject to us amending them.
That's what that makes more sense to me, but.
That's
So
my
it'd be impossible
understanding.
for you to have the minutes requested of you tomorrow that she's typing up tonight, that we won't even get a chance to see until the weekend.
Well, what I'm asking is a request for KP Law to make.
You just so happen to have the town administrator in the audience, and I'm sure that Mr. Fennessy would be happy to opine. If nothing else, could you at least ask KP Law that question and render a decision for us?
Yes, of course, Mr. Fennessy.
See how easy this is?
Good evening.
Go right to the top.
So I said 30 days. I know it's 3 meetings. If you have 3 meetings, you have to have the minutes available, or you're in violation. So I think it's either 30 or 60 days. It may be 60 days. But I can run in and check and come
But
back.
the argument they have is
So I
that
don't know
they
what the
wanted the
case
meetings
is.
that have yet to be approved from the previous from the 15th, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yes, from
Yeah.
June
Which we're
15th.
looking at
Oh,
for the
yeah,
very
yeah.
first
No,
time
that's-
tonight.
Right.
This would be
Yeah,
the
yes.
first meeting following the last one on the 15th. So that's not even close to
It's
three
not even
meetings.
in that earlier ballpark, so.
Okay.
Right, yeah, it was, whoops.
And-
It was, the letter, the email that we got from the attorney from the Save the Pine Barrens stated a Mass General Law, I think it was 40-3, that seemed to state that draft minutes could or have to be made available. So I'd just like a determination
Okay.
from KP Law as to what we need to do so we can answer these complaints when they come up.
Yeah, well, we'll get that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See how lucky you are you stayed?
All right.
The last time he hangs around.
He's gonna run out now.
I have two.
And one more thing before I forget, for the record, I was not, make note, I was not on that site visit for Ricketts Pond Drive that I just got through recusing myself from.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It was Dave, Dan, myself, Gary, and Brooke.
Thank
Did
you.
Jim go?
Jim was in California.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you weren't there last
He was in the
2
big
Saturdays
circle.
He
ago.
wasn't there.
Before we move on to the regular part of the meeting, there are two more things under discussion/business that are quick. I'd like to just get them out there. Number one is we received a complaint from a resident that there was work going on at 15 Holmes Avenue on Cooper's Pond. There was a bobcat and a backhoe doing work right at the water's edge, taking down trees and it looked like from photos that were supplied, doing some, and I have this here, you can take a look, doing some work, obviously within 10 feet of the pond, not even 65. So I think that our order, what we should do here on tomorrow or as soon as we can, is to put a cease and desist on any work being done on that, and have the homeowner, property owner, come in
into
at
the-
our meeting
yeah.
on the 20th.
So send him like a letter of violation that we usually do and tell him to cease and desist.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we'll have him or her come in on the 20th
Yeah.
and discuss what they were doing and why
Yeah.
and what kind of remediation there will need to be. And the last thing I want to add is that the conservation property at 44 Lakeview Street,
Yeah.
there are, we had trees taken down a couple of months ago, and we're about ready to start cutting them up into lengths for firewood, which are going to be donated to the veterans through
Oh, good.
through Dan Badger's group.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put it out there in case people see, the logs being cut up and put into the back of a pickup truck and towed it away. It's going to a good cause. So I just wanted to get that out there.
Gonna cut the grass?
Well, we can't do that with the logs there. We'll do that next. Okay.
Yeah, I was just about to say, most of this is my fault. I had made arrangements with the tree service that had come and taken the trees. They were going to come back and process the firewood, and that just, with their schedule, didn't happen.
Did we pay him to do that?
We paid them to do the tree work.
Yes.
The additional
So we
wood.
got our money's worth, is what
We
you're
did
saying.
get our money's worth for the actual tree work and actually then some. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so now we're running a bit late, but we'll go. New hearings, Wareham Street. We have an ANORAD. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:00 p.m. on Wednesday, July 6, 2022, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the abbreviated Notice of Resource Area Delineation, ANORAD, filed by Slocum Gibbs Cranberry Company. The applicant is requesting, through the ANRAD, that the Carver Conservation Commission confirm the wetland resource area, bordering vegetated wetland, on the property. The project is located off Wareham Street, Carver, Massachusetts, map 128, lot 2. All interested parties are invited to attend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Sarah Stearns with Beals and Thomas, and with me is the landowner, Mr. John Garrettson, affectionately known as Gary Garrettson to most of us. We have prepared an ANRAD for your review to confirm a BVW line on Mr. Garrettson's property located at 107 Wareham Street. Fortunately, most of the commission was able to join us on a site walk yesterday and got to look at the flags. It is a pretty simplistic line, runs predominantly along a bog road. Happy to go into as much or as little detail as the commission would like, but again, really just looking for confirmation of this line. We did note some other resource areas present on the property within the application, but we're really just looking for the confirmation of BBW at this time under this filing.
Sorry, I couldn't make it.
It's okay. Your commission was well represented.
Some of us have to work, you know.
Yes.
Oh, stop.
Understood.
The retired folks can usually make it.
He tells you that every meeting.
Well, it was almost as if we didn't need the flags.
It was. We could've
I mean, it
figured
was
out.
so obvious where the wetlands
Yeah.
were, because the flags were almost at the edge, all the way along
Yeah.
of the foliage.
Yeah.
And right adjacent to the bog road. There was only one little area where it seemed to be a little indentation where it went in, but that it didn't follow the edge of the tree line. But it was pretty cut and dried, what we were looking at. And I have no concern at all about indicating that it's, that we confirm the wetland resource area. Any comments? Dave, Dan?
Staff has no issue.
All right.
The motion to close, any from the audience? Nobody? Make a motion, we close the hearing for Wareham Street on the NRED.
We have a second. We have a motion and a second to close the hearing on the ANARAD for 120, is it 120? Or Wareham Street?
What was the address?
We just filed it as off Wareham Street.
Okay,
but
that's fine.
The official address is 107 Wareham.
107, okay.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
knew it.
I didn't mention, Mr. Chairman, we did receive a DEP file number too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got that, right?
We have a number?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's,
645.
yep.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda,
126645.
645.
All right, you want to amend your
126.
motion?
Yeah, I'll make, let me just start over again. Motion to approve the ANRAD for off Wareham Street, it's technically 107 Wareham Street, DEP SE 126645, as drawn on the plans, dated, I can never find the date, May 10th, 2022. No revision.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the ANARAD for Wareham Street, DEP SE 126645.
Label.
All those in favor say aye.
All right,
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved unanimously.
let's sign this one.
All right, and we're going to have one copy signed for our records. Have you sign it? All right. So we're good.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask
Thank
you to, you or Gary, or both,
Yep.
to just sign this also? Let's see, 126.
All right. 30 Indian
Anywhere in
Street.
here that's not on the label. You can if you want. Yeah, why not? I'll bring it over to Gary. Why not? We do this now so that when we're in the file, we pull
Yeah.
a file out. We've had instances where there's been plans and there's been a building built and it was a different set of plans
Yeah.
and
Well, it's a good idea.
now we sign them so that the plans we have in the file are the plans, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and start with that?
All right, next up.
I'll send the rest.
It's like, because it was a different solar company.
We have a new form. We have to print our names on these after we sign them.
Oh, which one is that? Oh, is that the, oh, is that the one
They're
you
all
showed
new.
me?
They're all new.
Oh, yeah, that's the one you showed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 30 Indian Street, request for determination of applicability. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, MGL 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:15 PM on Wednesday, July 6, 2022, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the request for determination of applicability filed by Joseph Paulino to determine C, whether the work depicted on the reference plan is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act, and D, whether the area and/or work depicted on referenced plans is subject to the jurisdiction of any municipal wetlands ordinance or bylaw of the town of Carver. The request is for the installation and construction of a 14 by 14-foot shed on a gravel base located approximately 75 feet from the resource area bordering vegetated wetland. The property is located at 30 Indian Street, map 93, lot 9, Carver, Massachusetts.
And I gave you some plans of this.
All right, is the applicant here? Come on up and have a seat, please. And sign in and just tell us who you are and...
Hi, yeah, my name's Joseph Paulino. I'm the resident at 30 Indian Street, and I'm just looking to put that shed in. I think a few of you guys came by the other day and took a look at it.
Okay. Actually, it looks like the position of the shed is a little different than is on the drawing. It's a little bit
Yes,
further removed from the wetlands.
Correct.
Actually,
correct.
which is even better. It seems to be back in the corner and almost at a 45-degree angle
Correct.
And within the tree line.
and within the tree
Yeah.
line.
Yes.
So it's still within the 100-foot buffer, but it doesn't
the
encroach
65.
into the tree line.
He doesn't need to cut any trees or anything.
Right. And the gravel base is already there.
Yeah.
There's a gravel.
And all the erosion controls in as well.
Right,
Yeah.
the original ones, yep.
Right. So again, there were three of us, three of the members of the commission there, as well as Mr. Flaherty and Ms. Monroe. And it seemed to be fine to me. Does anybody else have any comments on it?
So there's some X'd out stuff here. I'm assuming the X is where it used to be in the
No,
line.
the X was, I believe, on the original drawing, because the building itself was a square, the drawing didn't show a square.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that was just X'd out because it was erroneous.
Yeah, we got a long tape out to measure out from the where the well was
From the
to
well, yeah.
where the new proposed pad
It's going here.
for the shed, and that's well within,
It was like 27 feet.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only issue I had was,
Yeah.
Use that plan.
Okay.
You drew it. I'm sorry.
no, that's fine. The only issue I had was on one side of the property, there was some repairs needed for the erosion control.
Right, and we had talked about, Gary had talked about putting in a
Some
silt sock
siltation
Yeah,
laws.
silt sock.
On the top, yeah.
along the top.
Yeah.
And there was some brief discussion about possibly doing a little fill next to the garage to eliminate the two steep
Yeah.
embankments that are eroding right now. So that's something you know, we're not demanding that you do it, but it's something that we would allow you to do.
Yep.
If you wanted to do that, that would keep that side of the hill from going down
Right.
a little bit more. Did you prepare this drawing?
I did, and I only had one copy. That's why there's like an X out, and I was trying to get it, and I've moved it obviously even more
Does
since.
he agree that that's where it is, where you've drawn
I
it?
believe, I think so.
Because
Yeah.
we'll sign the copy that you've modified.
You want us to-
Have him initial it, please?
Do you want us, let's
Yeah.
think of that? Wait.
I would say it's even a little further back.
You're not ready to do it?
It wasn't all the way to the tree line. Maybe a little. That's close enough. That's close enough. That's very close.
You all right?
Yeah, that's very
Dated.
No, you only gave me one.
Yeah.
Give me a couple over here.
Yeah.
We'll put that on it. Where is it now?
It's right.
Same place?
It's close enough.
Okay.
Okay, so, any other comments by anybody?
Yeah, may Yeah, just for the record, you're gonna put this on gravel, what'd you say you were gonna do?
So there's some stone dust down right now,
Right.
and it's leveled out, and then we're just going to get it on some concrete blocks.
Just sitting there, you're not gonna dig any more up or anything?
Correct,
Okay, right.
correct.
And actually, the one thing, I'm looking over at that drawing, and looks like it's kitty corner in the corner of the property, but actually the pad you have is actually parallel to the side of the property line.
It's not quite parallel, no, it's a little, like you said, 45-degree angle a bit. Maybe not quite 45, but.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. That's kind of how I saw it, the way I
Well, it
drawn
doesn't matter, we're giving him the okay
Yeah, we
to
are.
be
Yeah.
within the 100 out
And he's
of the
putting it on
65.
he's putting it on the blocks anyway.
And
So-
based on what we looked at.
Yeah, that's not gonna be a big deal.
All right.
All right.
There's still an approval for the RDA within that range. Don't sign that yet.
Yep.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to, unless anyone else has anything else, or anybody from the audience? No.
Motion to close the hearing for 30 Indian Street on the RDA.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the hearing on the RDA for 30 Indian Street. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, approved 5-0. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve the 30 Indian Street, the RDA, as drawn on the undated. We'll date this today, today's date.
Yeah. So you're actually
For,
issuing a negative determination.
All right, negative determination.
That's right.
Yep.
Sorry.
All right, second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to issue a negative determination on the RDA for 30 Indian Street. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, approved 5-0.
You can sign it now.
We're good to go.
Did you date the plan today, too?
Yeah. It's the 7th.
Hmm?
It's the 7th.
6th,
Today's the 6th.
yes. All right,
Smooth.
next up.
Did you need me to sign anything?
No,
No?
He signed it. Did he
he signed
initial-
the
He
drawing.
did.
Yeah, if he signed the drawing.
Yeah,
he's good.
you're good to go. Thank you very much. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
All right,
Where's that?
Jim's got it.
It's coming.
Lot
The
11,
one with the label on it, right?
yeah.
Oh, this one.
it's co- Lot 11, Stanley Lane,
I'll never sign that.
an RDA. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL 13140, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw that a public hearing will be held at 7:30 PM on Wednesday, July 6, 2022, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the request for determination of applicability filed by the CE Development LLC to determine, C, whether the work depicted on the reference plans is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act, and D, whether the area and/or work depicted on reference plans is subject to the jurisdiction of any municipal wetlands ordinance or bylaw of the town of Carver. The request is for the clearing and grading required to fit the proposed house and septic system located approximately 65 feet from the resource area bordering vegetation wetland. The property is located off Stanley Lane, map 36, lot 11, Carver, Massachusetts. All interested parties are invited to attend. And once again, Dave and Dan and myself and Brooke and Gary were at the site visit on yesterday morning. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Gregory Drake. I'm from Outback Engineering representing CE Development. The applicant is proposing to build a single-family home with a septic system, driveway, garage, and most of the work that they're proposing is outside the 100-foot except for some clearing and grading that in order to fit the house in and to get a level backyard, as shown here. It's outside the 100-foot of this wetland that's on the west end of the property. And most of the work is outside, except for the clearing and grading, and it is outside the 65-foot no-touch zone. We do not go beyond that. And it's pretty clear if there's any questions or anything.
So nothing will be inside the 65?
No. Even the well is
I
outside.
see the wells outside the 100.
Yep.
Did you guys go look at it?
We did.
We did.
And?
The question that I noticed when I was looking at this is that this incursion into the 100 feet, between the 100 foot and the 65, does not impact any mechanical or construction of the home. It's just done to increase the backyard. Is that
Yes,
correct?
the homeowner is looking at it.
All right. If you were,
Plus, you got to get the well back there as well.
well, the well's outside the 100.
Yeah, but it is going to require some clearing.
So we did some rough looking, using your drawings and the scale on the drawing. We did some rough kind of calculations about what the size of the backyard would be with and without the incursion into the 100 foot. If you were to put your fence right across the 100-foot line, approximately. It looked to us as though the backyard, without an incursion into the 100-foot, would be 80 feet by 80 feet, approximately. That's what we were guessing. And that you would then add another 35 feet, making the depth of the backyard 115 feet, approximately. You know, that's a huge backyard, and I'm a little reticent to allow the incursion into that 100-foot zone just for a huge backyard. I mean, if there were septic back there, or if there was a driveway and need for something, certainly I would consider it. But just in order to have a larger backyard, it seems a little counterproductive to what the wetlands guidelines are established for. So that's just my opinion. I don't know what the I know the house next door does not have that deep a backyard. I know that it's further away from the road and closer to the wetlands. But it just seems to me that that this is not born out of necessity, but born out of luxury. So I'm a little reticent to say okay to that. But that's me.
We all kind of agreed, I think, right, Dan, when you were out there?
Well, one of the things, because this would require a variance.
No.
No, it would not. All right. Well, one of
As
the
an idea, that's all.
one of the issues
No
is
variance.
right beyond the well. You're into tree line, and so to get back to the fence where you're wanting to actually have a fence, is you'd have to cut out trees and things like that fairly unnecessarily. And so I know we have our different setbacks and delineation lines for the 65 and 100, but that doesn't mean that we want work done pushed right up to the 65. That's if it's, if there are certain hardships that would require, we can look at different factors, but you've got the well outside the 100, and there is, even though there's a steep pitch, that's not really something that we have concerns with. Our concern isn't so much whether or not there's enough hosting area for a build site, but that we're protecting the town's resources. So in light of that, I'm not in favor of seeing anything going beyond that isn't necessary.
Can I ask you a question? There's already been grading that's been going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, because they've, a lot of the work's outside the 100, so they were able to get their permits and stuff.
Okay, so right now where the grading goes and then there's the sharp drop off, that's right at the 100-foot?
That'd be my guess. I haven't actually
It
been out
looks
to the
like it,
property.
looks like it.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I would assume it is, yes.
Okay, all
I think we
right.
measured that. Didn't you measure that from the house? Or-
We paced it out.
We paced it out.
You paced
Right,
it.
yeah, and we were looking at the scale, and we saw that the backyard was approximately 80
Yeah.
by 80 without intrusion into the 100.
So I'm also thinking that the homeowners want as much level backyard as they want, so that's probably where this is coming from.
Right.
If you're,
Yeah,
Yeah, I understand.
But obviously you got, you guys have your
Right, and,
rules and regulations, and that's why we're here.
right, and, again, as Dan used a good word, which is hardship, and I don't see that denying that extra 30 feet or so would cause a hardship to either financially or lifestyle to the homeowner. I think that it's a fairly large backyard without that extra. So that's my opinion. And you were not there, Mr. Jermaine, nor were you, Mr. Nowen.
I agree with the Savory. I think it's not a necessity.
And there was a lot of trees to be cut.
Yep.
It didn't look like it was going to provide any problems for them if they just left it the way it was.
Looks like there'd be a lot of fill that would have to come in also, and now you're gonna deal with grading that's down at the 65.
Yeah.
This all slopes down to the 65?
Slopes down and then kind of back up again.
Yeah.
Right.
And they wanna fill that in
Yeah.
and level that up.
Regrade it, yeah.
It's a lot of
Clear it.
material to
Clear
bring
it.
in. I didn't see the site, so you're telling me there's a
Right.
lot of trees and
Well,
everything?
it's a development. I don't know, I mean, you might be bringing, your thought might be to bring soil from somewhere else on your site, because
Yeah,
there
my
was a
guess.
rather...
They're not going to truck it in from another site yet. It would.
Yeah, there was a rather large pile there on the other side of the cul-de-sac. So, I imagine that, that it's just a matter of moving earth that's already there as opposed to trucking it in. But again, it's, I don't see it as a necessity to make this project sellable.
I'd let them slope off the dip, but not fill it in if they wanna make that.
Well, the tree's there. I don't want the
The
trees,
trees can't get cut.
right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I
You
don't,
like
I don't think we have any issue with making
Right.
that current drop-off less severe.
Right.
But
It's the clearing.
I'm
Getting
usually
it-
pretty easy, and it's not often that I agree with Savory, or Dan for that matter. But I do agree, this is not a hardship case, and we're not trying to stick a well in there, and it isn't a corner of the building, and we're trying to cut trees and fill in a low-lying area that's inside the 100, outside the 65, just to make the backyard appear bigger. And I, without seeing the site, I gotta go along with my fellow
I think you would agree.
conservation folk.
I think you would agree.
And I'm pretty easy. I mean, I'm one of the first guys to say, oh, come on, give the guy a break. But this is, I think,
And it almost
I think it's
matches up.
unnecessary.
It almost matches up with the house next door.
yeah, there's a
Looking at
pretty
the
steep
extent of
grade
the fill,
between the
yeah.
two.
Yeah.
And it could be landscaped to kind of blend in
Yeah.
nicely, but,
You could wood chip it or something like that.
Yeah.
Leave the trees in where they are.
Yep.
Make it a little forest.
all right. So,
So there shouldn't be any confusion that basically the work that's been done to date, there's a well in place now, and there's been some grading to the well, to that 100-foot line already. So whatever language we come up with, or if we come up with any languages that hereby endeth the
Well, no more tree cutting, no more development of that back area.
beyond that
well,
line.
I think that, Gary, you had mentioned...
We kind of mentioned how to
well,
do it with the form.
As the site sits right now, they're out of our jurisdiction.
Right.
So if they stay where they are, they really don't need this RDA, or they won't need, therefore, a DOA.
Right.
So, I mean, the applicant could just withdraw your filing with or without prejudice, just because you're not gonna need it.
If we don't go beyond the,
Because everything's
Yeah, just-
beyond, everything's outside the
Just-
100.
Right,
Yeah.
as long as you stay put.
Right, yeah, that's, so, I mean,
This is a
if,
big drawing.
Yeah, because there's really no box to check on the negative determination.
No, there
It's kind of a
isn't.
weird,
Well, because
Well, you
that's
can't
all,
issue an
it's all
Right,
jurisdictional,
right.
and they're not in it.
Right.
So you really don't need your application to stay where you are.
This is better.
okay.
Make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
So I can go
provided they
back
don't
and-
infringe beyond that 100, then we won't have an issue.
right, right, and, I think that lessening the severity of that downslope
Yeah.
past your, right at the edge of where you've already done the fill. I mean, it's pretty steep right now, if you wanted to just,
Because there's some
Level that
room
off a little
between
bit more.
Where the toe of the fill is and the tree line, you've got a little
Yeah.
bit of room.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be a little steeper than it shows on here.
Yeah, I know, we saw it, but I mean, if you
Yeah.
wanted to smooth that out, so
Smooth
it's
it out
not
a
as,
little bit.
so it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like a hazard for children falling down.
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah, but let's not see any surprises.
smooth that out a little bit, but still, I don't think that would fall within,
It's still outside the,
still outside the 100, so if you
Yes.
want to just withdraw
Might qualify.
this, then,
It's just good that everything looks like it does in the photographs now, later.
obviously.
Are
So-
you just going to withdraw this, or? we gonna-
it's your choice. I mean, we
Yeah,
can,
that would be up to him.
to withdraw, or, I mean, we could, I guess, issue a positive determination?
But
But
that
then
means
that would
he's,
mean he needs to
he's-
file a notice of intent.
Notice
Right,
of
then he's
intent,
gonna
which
go right.
I would imagine, I can't talk
I
to my
think you should
client. but-
probably withdraw it
Yeah.
and then go talk to the owner and see if they.
And we
wanna
can always
push the issue.
reapply?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You
Right.
can
do it
reapply with
without
an
prejudice, so
NOI.
that means
Right.
you can reapply.
Or how about
Okay.
if you just got a revised plan that showed,
This way he
this
can
is
withdraw.
all we're doing?
Yeah,
Just
but see,
withdraw.
No,
Brooke,
but then-
he's out of jurisdiction.
Oh,
He doesn't have
He
to.
doesn't need a plan.
Right,
Right.
He doesn't need a plan unless they want to come back and
Right.
try this again.
So
right.
just withdraw
Okay, so I
and
can
talk
with-
to
yeah,
the owner,
we
and
can
then
withdraw.
if you guys want to pursue, then
Yeah.
you can go through the,
And if he wants to pursue
if
more,
he wants to push it,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
then
Right.
he's
you
going to
can
have
file
to
an
probably,
NOI and,
Yeah.
give him
Right.
the best shot.
you can warn him.
So
Yeah.
just tell us you want to withdraw without prejudice,
Yeah.
and we'll
let's
call
do
it a
that.
day.
We'll withdraw without prejudice.
All right, then we're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't want to vote to allow that?
No, because it's no longer under our jurisdiction.
Yeah, do you
We
vote
have
on
nothing to
this?
vote on.
You
He's
could,
withdrawn.
You have to vote on,
You could just.
you've got to vote
It's
on
his choice.
It's
affirming
his
the
choice.
It's your
withdrawal.
choice, right, to withdraw it? I mean,
Which he
No.
did.
yeah, so
Yeah.
there's really no
There's
need
no-
for a vote.
it's his
I don't think.
choice.
Yeah,
Right, there's no vote. We don't have to,
yeah. You can just agree that he's
we
going to
don't have to
withdraw
vote
it.
on him withdrawing, because now it doesn't concern us any longer by being withdrawn.
And the issue will be ratified in the minutes.
Right, yes.
And
Okay.
then if we want to refile, it'll be a whole new RDA.
Right.
Yeah.
If he wants
Okay.
to,
Yeah,
Yeah, it wouldn't be
Or
an
a notice of
NOI.
intent, I
Well, it
guess.
Or a
wouldn't be an
notice of
NOI.
intent.
He's not going in the 65, so he's not going to need a variance. He's just
No,
going to do it.
Yeah.
but you'd still need an NOI in the 100.
yeah. So he would, if he wants to
Yeah,
You
come
need
back
permission in the 100.
so
a
you need to
variance
do
in
an
the-
NOI. That's what
Yeah,
I want to
okay,
just
yeah.
communicate that to him.
to be
Yeah.
safe.
If
Okay.
you want to do past the 100, you got to go
Right,
NOI.
right,
Yep.
right.
Great.
And otherwise,
Yeah.
you stay outside the 100, and then you have to
Yeah.
worry
You're
about it.
clean, yeah,
Yep.
right where you
Yeah.
are right now.
Right where
Okay.
you are now is fine, and you can smooth that out, that deep cut, you can smooth that out.
Yep.
We get
Okay?
a DEP number on this next
No,
one?
RDAs don't have, no.
On 22 South Main Street?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we
Okay,
do.
thank you very much.
648.
Thank you.
We didn't have it when the agenda was made. 648.
Yes.
What is it again, 408?
648.
648. Okay. All right, 22 South Main Street, NOI DEPSC 126648. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, citation 9.2, that a public hearing will be held at 7:45 PM on Wednesday, July 6, 2022, in Meeting Room Number 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the notice of intent submitted by the Ivo Cole for the installation of a fence within the 65 and 100-foot buffer zone of Sampson's Pond. The project work is also within the 65-foot buffer protected under the bylaw and will require a variance from the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw. This project is located at 22 South Main Street,
Send it.
Carver, Massachusetts. Map 2, Lot 15. All interested parties are invited to
Send
attend.
both copies, send it down.
Evening, members of the commission. I vote Cole.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Ducky.
It's muggy in here. The AC still isn't working, huh?
Oh, it's
We
working,
we
just
turned
it's
it,
loud.
the fan's really
yeah,
loud, so
okay.
for
I
the,
can turn it back on.
It's like
if
you're
you
deaf.
want
If it's
Oh,
on.
okay.
It's horrible.
to. You want it back on?
no, we're almost done.
We're almost done.
Okay,
Yes, looking to request a variance for the installation of about a 4.5, little over 4.5-foot fence to the water's edge on either side of the property, following along the property's edge, just coming to the water, not coming across. And I believe I provided some photos of what the fence would look like. It's an aluminum fence, and I'm here to field any questions.
okay.
Am I right in remembering that the stone wall is at the 65?
Oh, and you remember?
No. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, just to remind you that Ivo had filed an RDA on this, and then you went back and told him to file the notice of intent.
Right.
Remember that? Okay.
Yes,
Because
that
it
was
needs a variance.
Right.
Couldn't do an RD.
right, yes, that was a meeting I was not at. That
Yeah.
was right after my surgery.
So just to answer your question, actually the fence around the pool, there's an existing fence around the pool which is not shown on this plan. That fence line is actually the 100-foot buffer. So it's actually on this side of the house, on the Sampson's Pond side of the house,
Okay.
the 100-foot buffer.
So what you're doing is you're putting up a three-sided fence.
I'm putting up a 3-sided fence to try to keep my
You're gonna
dogs
bring
in.
it up to the pool, so you use the pool fence that's there now and then just add to the sides, or is this a separate fence altogether?
So it's a separate fence altogether, trying to get as close to the property line as possible. I'm gonna stay within the tree line,
Yeah?
just because for convenience sake, I'm not gonna be taking down any trees whatsoever. It's just a barrier.
Savory and Dan, you guys weren't there. The backyard is pretty squared off, and it's a straight shot down both sides of the tree line.
I spent every day of my summers as a kid on that beach, so I know the property pretty
There
well.
you go. Well, Savory's obviously prejudiced. I'm not sure which way yet.
Okay.
Well,
I didn't see a problem with what he's trying to do. The fence is decorative. He's trying to contain the dog in the backyard. It's certainly big enough for the critters to get through. We've allowed fences along property lines before.
not up to the water's edge,
What difference does it make?
65 feet.
65 feet.
We've allowed fences beyond the 65 and given variances for them. We've done it in the past. We've done it around pools. We've done it around property lines. Because I voted on several. He's not fencing in the beach. He's just going down to the edge of the water on both sides.
All right, well,
I mean, I'd be willing to say, okay, can you keep it back, you know? At what point of the water is where you're gonna stop?
Oh, I mean, I can stop well before the highest point of the tide. I mean, I don't have any problem with that. I'm gonna be putting an invisible fence
Across the
line
water's
across
edge,
the
you said.
water's edge so that they can't just start swimming out.
Right.
I mean, I figure at that point I've given them enough room to play around with, so they should be happy with that.
I mean, I just don't see it's, you know, they're small aluminum poles. There's no destruction to the wetlands area. It's down at the water's edge. He's gonna put a.
it's a marshy area right there,
Huh?
where the stream comes in between the Coles house and the Murphy house. That's the inflow to Sampson's Pond.
He's on this side of it,
He's right on it. The stream is the property line.
but he's not gonna put the fence in the stream.
If
I
you'd-
understand that.
If you'd like, I can stop at the gazebo and use the gazebo as kind of the
Okay,
stopping point on that side, if you prefer.
okay.
And we know that
'Cause
it's
I
an
understand what
intermittent
you-
stream to begin with,
There's a gazebo out there.
as has been determined from across the street.
Across the street.
It's intermittent across the street. We never had.
It's not a perennial stream
We
there
never-
either. It's part of the storm drainage system on 58.
Actually, I don't think it is.
It is.
No, that stream runs 12 months a year, and it has before 58 was built.
And the storm drains run into it, and the water that feeds it has now been determined by the DEP to be intermittent across the street. And there's no other place to feed the thing.
Oh, no, that's not true. It comes in from groundwater. Anyway, but that's
Okay.
not neither here nor there. Okay, so,
Too late to
He
argue that.
hates to be wrong,
it is.
especially on his pond.
It's not my pond. So this is for your dogs,
Yes.
to keep your dogs in there.
Otherwise, they're gonna go in the water and go to your.
May I say something?
They'll be swimming over.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just like the other property, I sympathize with you, but it's not really a necessity that you go into the 65 no-touch zone. And we have a no-touch zone, and that's the bylaws are set up that way because they don't want things like this going on there. So I don't know, to me, I feel like you should even, I would be okay going up to the 65, but the into the no-touch, I don't know.
There's a physical barrier of a stone wall on my neighbor's
Right.
that was allowed. It's just, like I said, it's just a physical barrier trying to stop
Understand.
that from
Yeah,
them
there's a wall on
from
both
getting
sides
through.
of
There's a
most of
wall
the
on both sides of me.
It was put in before.
Yeah.
Actually, the wall's curved. It doesn't go all the way up the property line. It goes maybe 30 feet, and then the bank on both sides covers it.
Yeah, the one thing with, the one thing I always have, precedent is an important thing in terms of, what we look at and how we make decisions, but, also there's another, term that is best practices. And so as we gain more knowledge of issues, we kind of tweak what is the best thing to do for different issues. So medically speaking, arsenic used to be a really good treatment for a lot of different sicknesses, and now we know it's a bad thing. I have no problem with the fence going up to 65 feet, but beyond that, that's because I don't view a hardship here. I'm a fan of dogs. I'm also a fan of training dogs, and the electric fences are pretty great in concert with training, and they work. That is outside of our purview here. What's within our purview is that 65 no touch, and on that's pretty clear from my end.
My precedent is what I look at as well. And, we're a small town. People know what everybody does. And I would not want this to be the start of every other property having a dog fence going down to the water. Because, someone doesn't want their dog escaping. So I don't think that, I don't think encroaching into the 65-foot no-touch zone for a dog run qualifies as a hardship. And I do worry about precedent. There are a lot of dogs on the pond. You can hear them. I can hear them. I mean, your neighbor's 2 doors away. The Higgins have a couple. 3 doors the other way towards my house. At the other side of me, they've got 2 dogs. They're going to see the fence. They're going to know what it's for, and there's nothing to stop them from coming in as well. The next thing you know, we have fences all the way around all the properties on Sampson, encroaching or going down to the water's edge. So,
But it's their property.
Yeah, but it's not just fences. It's what else is going to be okay in terms of construction.
They live on a pond front. They're trying to put a fence down to the water line. They're not trying to put a gazebo up. They're not trying to build an addition. They're trying to build a dock. They're trying to put a fence in.
No, I get that.
And it's their property. They want to fence their property. Why don't they have that right to fence their property? You have a right to fence your property. Maybe he doesn't want neighbors. It's his business why he wants to put a fence in. Everybody's within the 65 down there. It's on the edge of a pond.
that's right, and that's
This makes no sense to me, the argument that any of you are portraying. None. And I would be adamantly against your decision. I think that we try to extend this because we're trying to, for a feel-good moment, on the 65 encroachment, it's on the pond. Everything on the pond is an encroachment.
Yeah.
And I think that we've taken the rules beyond the scope of what their intention is, because the reason people spend a ton of money to live on the edge of the water is because they live on the edge of the water. I think they have the right to enjoy that waterfront.
Yeah, but this isn't a feel-good thing about the 65. This is,
Sure it is. You don't want the fence within the 65. And he doesn't want it within the 65 because maybe the next door neighbor will want one within the 65.
Exactly.
well,
Who
as,
cares?
yeah, but as I think I've demonstrated over the past couple of years, I don't care what people think or feel about any of this stuff. If they want to have,
Well, I think
if
it's
they
wrong.
want to have a different, and this is, your argument sometimes with other issues is, well, they've lived here for so many generations, they're good people and all that.
It's not a
Again,
question of good people
again,
who live here.
that I don't care about either. What I care about is, we've got a set of bylaws.
I'll tell you, that
and-
house was built before these wetland laws were produced.
Yeah, no,
That
I
much I
know.
can tell you.
Yeah, and there were a lot
It
of
wasn't
other.
the one next door to you, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, but there were also a lot of grandfathered practices that we now know are a really bad idea.
We have a stone wall. We should make them take that out because we don't like that. That's in the
No.
65.
No, certain things get grandfathered in, but now we know better,
Okay.
and that's the point.
Well,
Where's the stone wall on the?
there's a stone wall on that project.
Stone walls on the, on Gary Griffith's property, the old Davison house.
Oh, okay. I forgot, okay.
I just think that we overreach sometimes, and this is one of those times.
Well, I think in a lot of cases, we have actually the ability to sort of nip issues in the bud, and too often, we've let things go to the point now where it could potentially backfire on us. And I don't mean about perception of how we look. I'm talking about actual deterioration of the resources that we've taken an oath to protect.
What's going to be deteriorated by a fence going down to the pond?
Okay, well, what I'm saying is, fence seems like a non-issue, but I view this as a gateway issue.
We allowed a fence on Andrews Point, right down to the water from the next door neighbor. In fact, we required the guy to put a critter fence underneath it because he had his garden out there, running right down to the water line, or close to it. And we approved that. So by all means, tell this gentleman no. You talk about precedent, there it is. Go look up Andrews Point.
Okay, well, I'll have to refer back to those minutes, but I'm pretty sure that there have been quite a few,
That was a
there have
There
been,
was a fence, there was all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
Andrews
Which
Point.
one was that? Was that Benny's?
Benny.
yeah. And, yeah, I'll have to look at the record and stuff, but I can say
We
pretty
haven't taken it
confidently that there have been quite a few votes
We
where
haven't taken it out.
maybe the board might have voted for something. I know that there are many times where I was a 4-1 vote on many issues.
Okay.
So,
You have the right.
yep, nope, and that's why we have a panel, and
Okay.
I appreciate your point as well.
I think you're right. I can't remember. We allowed that.
Yeah, we did allow it.
And also, in any other town, this would not be allowed. I
We're
know
not
for a
any
fact.
other town.
I
And
know,
no disrespect to
but
that
the
statement.
bylaws are Massachusetts laws.
And we're given the power to
We need to.
do it our way.
But we need to do the best we can. to
I agree.
Fall within these laws.
And if he was trying to strip clear that back lot and put a fence in for his dogs and it was in the 65, I'd say no way in hell.
Well, I sympathize with him.
Wide open to the water line, that's why they built the house where they built it. I don't think the wetland laws explicitly apply to the pond front. I know you guys tell me they do, and I've read that they do. My opinion is, that opinion is wrong. If I lived on the edge of a pond and was paying the taxes that I'm paying on the edge of that pond, and you tried to tell me I couldn't do something on my beach, I would not be a happy camper.
Well, see-
That's me.
Well, see, that's a nuance that maybe, sometime down the road, we can adjust the language. But for now, the language is what the language is.
Right.
Well, I see no destruction in allowing a fence, but it's up to you guys.
The areas that I'm going to be putting the fence in, I'm not going to be cutting any trees. I'm not going to be going within any of that area. It's going to be within an area that is already constantly accessed every day.
Well, I'm of the opinion that it should stop at the 65-foot mark, and that you put your electric fence across there, which is on the lake side of the pool. It's 35 feet on the other side of your pool fence. which is, if your pool fence is at the 100-foot mark, then you've got another 35 feet for your dogs to roam, plus the front yard, wherever your electric fence is. So that would be what I would be okay with. And it's
I don't really want to box my house in.
no, I know, but I mean,
You know
you
what
would
I
still
mean?
have the electric fence, so you're not boxing your house in, you're having the electric fence. It's either going to be 35 feet from your pool or,
The only reason I
80
think
feet.
that the water's edge will work is because of I've tried invisible fences before. That's the only problem, is they don't listen. I've trained them. I've hired professional trainers to come out, and this whole area is cleared out. There's a gazebo there.
True.
I'm just trying to make it a little more. Anyway,
well, as you know, living on the pond, the high water mark and low water mark, depending on the drought of the summer, can vary as much as 20 or 25 feet. So where would you end the fence? Would have to be at the high water mark.
That's what he said. He said he would do it at the high water mark.
So the high water mark is usually determined in March.
We're gonna make him look too much.
Well, if that's what the high water mark is, we would need to know where that is. We would
Well,
need to know
the high
what
water
that's...
mark doesn't wind up on his grass, does it?
no, never.
So, I mean, if he were to
Never
take
say never.
the grass line and use that as the edge, he'd still be within the high water mark.
Can you tell by looking at it?
You can tell by looking at the granite wall next
Yeah,
door.
about where the
Yeah.
high water
Where the high water
Usually
mark
you
is.
can tell, more or less, if it's...
Yeah.
Would you be willing to stop at
What
the high
stage is
water
it?
mark? Or a little
If we
before it,
could
maybe
determine before
maybe a
March.
grass line?
If we could determine before March where that is.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying maybe even use your grass line as the edge.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
no,
I could understand that. I could agree to
He's
that.
got grass down to the water, so technically that's a violation too. You really want to go there?
Why? No, that grass is grown in on the beach. That was not
okay.
planted. That's natural.
Looked pretty nice grass to me.
No,
Yeah. okay.
I went by it today with
Okay.
in the boat. I looked at it
Sure
from the
you
water.
did.
Yeah, you didn't plant down where the beach was, right? No, that's
No.
just, you just cut it. I mean, you let it, it was growing wild for a few years. You just went down and cut it. And-
Yeah, that's
yeah.
about maybe, I don't know, 75 feet
Yeah.
of that. It's not the entire border of the
Right, no, I know
property
that.
along the
I
pond.
know that.
Yeah.
No, that's what happens with beaches if you let them go. It's the clump grass. It's the,
Which is why I don't mind on the left side, looking at it from the pond,
Yeah.
stopping at the gazebo
yeah.
and then stopping at the grass line on the right side.
Gazebo's already there.
Yeah, the gazebo's there.
I guess my only viewpoint, I just don't see it as wetlands because there's a pond.
Yeah.
So there's dry ground and a pond. It's not like it's mush and wetland plants growing. So I just see it differently, Sabri.
All right.
You're more protective of Sampson's than I am because you live there.
All right, you know what I want? You know what I want? Because an intermittent stream, regardless of whether it's intermittent or,
Perennial.
perennial, is still a wetland.
Right.
So there is a 65-foot buffer to either side of that intermittent stream. So what I would like to have this continued, and I'd like to see a plan with the wetlands drawn in.
So you're gonna make him move 65 feet off the stream? He's gonna put the
I've-
fence in the middle of his backyard.
We require people with an NOI to present plans that show the wetlands delineation. This does not. That's all I'm asking for. Continue it, get a plan showing the wetlands, the 65 and the 100-foot, and then come back. I mean, it's what we ask everybody else to do at an NOI. So I think that's the least we can do, and then we make a determination based on that.
No disrespect, but if you're gonna do that, we're gonna need bigger plans. so we can
Sure,
actually
no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
See it.
Yeah, so, are you amenable with that, getting a?
I'm gonna see, what about a plan from 2013?
I'll take a
Would
look
that be
at it.
acceptable?
I'll take a look at it.
I have two
That's- is that the
copies.
we- a
I
Webby
have
plan,
two
too?
copies there.
Oh,
Webby's?
oh, no, this is different. This one has, oh, okay, it shows the wetlands above the
Give me
stream.
the other one.
Yeah. See, it shows the wetlands above the stream, so it's much more detailed. Maybe he has to move 65 feet off the side, then he's in the middle of it. That's even worse. Right? That's even worse. That's crazy.
Okay, this is showing Murphy's. The 65 and 100 on Murphy's.
Okay, that was the
Yeah.
plan that I had drawn up when we were selling them a piece of
Okay. Oh, yeah,
of
the little
land
piece down in
towards
the
the
corner.
water's edge. So with it shows the stream with the wetlands on either side of the stream,
Okay,
which the stream is still on 22 South Main's property entirely.
Right.
It's up to you, Mr. Chairman.
well, I'd like to see a drawing like that showing the wetlands, the 65 and 100 on
It's 26, okay, so
your property as well,
this is.
just so we can,
On the water's edge,
and
From
on
the
your,
water's
on
edge.
your side of the intermittent stream.
is that not on both sides?
It does
that
not
plan?
show, it only shows it on Murphy's side, it doesn't show it on your
It's gonna
side.
be all the way
Ah.
to the side of the lot.
So that's really what we're looking for, is that on the other side.
We can do it for the next meeting in 2 weeks if you can get the thing done.
If I do that, is the determination going to be that the 65-foot, I gotta come out 65 feet from the wetlands because?
We need to know where the 65 feet is before we can make that determination, because if you look at the wetlands delineation along the shoreline of Sampson's Pond, it seems to me that it's further back than the actual water's edge. If you're on that drawing that you just showed us there, it's sort of a jagged line. So the wetlands engineer who did that 9 years ago determined that the wetlands, the area that is exactly the wetlands, which does include some of the plant life that lives along the water's edge, may make that wetlands extend more into your yard than just the actual water's edge.
And so if you went 65 feet from the stream, you would be almost to
Well,
the other
the
side.
house
of
is
the
within
lot.
It would
65
be-
feet.
It would be within
I'm
the middle of the
not
house.
saying that that's what we should do, or he
Right.
should do.
Yeah.
We don't know where exactly the wetlands are right now.
Right, right,
And we also don't know where the 65 feet is in relationship to the water's edge.
yeah.
But none of that matters.
It does matter.
It doesn't matter, because we're gonna grant the variance for the fence. So whether we grant the variance for the fence within the 65 to the water's edge, or within the 65 to the edge of the intermittent stream, what difference does it make? We're gonna grant the variance to put a fence down as drawn, which
We're
means
going to
it's
vote on a
infringe.
variance. We're not going to necessarily grant a variance. We're
Well,
going to vote on a
that's what the
variance.
application's for, is to grant the variance to put a fence in within the 65.
That's correct.
Whether it's 65 to the water's edge or the 65 to the stream, doesn't really matter, but whatever this you want from this guy is fine.
Again, I go back to what Dan said and we said
Okay.
and what you've said
Well,
forever.
then we should just vote it down,
Precedent. Well,
and let him appeal and do what he has to do.
I'd rather vote, if you don't mind, just because I have materials ordered, they're coming in a couple of weeks, and if I have to cancel that order, I have to start working on that now.
all right, what's the flavor of the board? I think that it should stop at the 65 foot.
We need a motion to close the hearing first, if everybody's done talking.
I'm done talking.
All right, so, in this particular case, it looks like there would be 2 votes.
We still need a motion to close the hearing before we can get into this.
before we can talk about what the votes are?
Why not?
Yeah.
Because
It'll
we're
close
done
the hearing.
with the audience.
All right.
A motion to close the hearing for 22 South Main Street, DEPSE 126648.
Second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to close the hearing on 22 South Main Street, NOI DEP SE 126-648. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none? All right. There are two votes that are necessary here. It looks like to me, and please correct me if I'm incorrect, there is the notice of intent, which would allow a fence between the 100-foot and 65-foot buffer zone. And then there is the variance, which would allow the fence to intrude into the 65 feet. So,
And I don't think so. There's still two votes, but the first is to approve the NOI, and the second would then be to approve the variance.
right,
So this would be similar to what we did before, where if there was an approval for the NOI and a denial on the variance, it gave him an opportunity to change the plan and not have to refile because the NOI was filed.
Okay.
He could then amend the plan for another shot at a variance.
okay,
But the NOI itself got approved. We did this before.
right.
It's absolutely the will of the board. You can vote no on everything, but.
No, I'm just trying to make it clear, because I do remember the last
Yeah.
time, but
Yeah,
the last time, I think both votes were for the same
It's an
thing.
approval for the NOI first.
Yeah, okay.
And then there's a subsequent yes or no vote on the variance.
You understand that,
Yeah, I do.
what we're trying to do? Okay.
The other thing is, there are actually two 65-foot lines. There's one running perpendicular to the shoreline, one running perpendicular to this intermittent stream.
One variance would include
One
the whole
variance would
thing.
cover the two.
I just want to make sure that he's clear when he's looking at material
Right.
costs and
Right.
But
things like that.
the delineation of where the 65-foot line would be one continuous line.
Yes.
So the variance would take care of that as
Okay.
well. All right, I'll entertain a motion to.
I'll make a motion that we approve the NOI for DEPSE 126648, 22 South Main Street, as requested.
Do we have a second?
I just need a clarification. When we approve this NOI, what does that mean exactly?
It means we've approved the NOI, we have not granted anything. So technically, he can't do anything still. He still needs a variance. We do it in two steps. In the event that the variance is denied, which it looks like it's probably gonna be, then he can go back to, if he has a Plan B, without having to file a whole
Gotcha.
new
Understand.
notice of intent. That's the only reason to do it this
I
way.
just want to clarify. Okay.
Right.
Good.
So,
Second.
all right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the NOI for DEP SE 126-648, 22 South Main Street.
Before you vote, you have to understand, he can't do anything with the approval of the NOI.
Gotcha.
It's the variance that gives him the go-ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, great.
Okay.
I don't know if that's 100% true.
It is.
The variance is only within the 65 feet.
Right, so he can build,
With the
which is what
approval
you
of the
guys are
NOI.
asking for.
Outside the 65, he's going to need the
Outside,
variance.
he can build the fence outside the 65 with the approval of the NOI.
But he's looking to get within the 65. so
I
he's
understand
gonna
that,
look for the variance.
but you said that to Dave that this vote only approved the NOI. It does allow him to build the fence to the 65-foot
I
line
apologize, you're right.
without the variance.
That's right.
Okay.
Only
All
on
right.
two sides, though, right?
Only on, what do you mean, two sides?
Are you telling me that I can only build the fence with the NOI approved, but not the variance on only the South Main Street and the right-hand side
Well, it looks
No.
like, no, you wouldn't be able to go down the stream.
at all?
Yeah, because you'd have to
So
be,
just along the rock
you'd have to be
wall?
outside the
At
65.
this point, you would have to stay out of the 65.
Even on the lake, even from the lake, right? Not just the
Yes.
stream, right? So
From
It has to
both.
be 65 from the lake.
So
No matter what.
technically, approving the NOI doesn't help you. It saves you a step
I understand.
to try to figure this out, to get, because the objective here is going to be to get what you're trying to get or as close to what you want. The simple approval of the NOI puts you in no better position. You got a fence you can't put, you got to be 65 feet off the stream, and then you got to be 65 feet off the pond.
Right.
So
I
now you
understand.
end up with a shoebox for a fence,
It's gonna
And
put them in the middle of the lot.
it's gonna put it in the middle of your
Right,
yard, is what it's gonna
65
wind up doing. You're gonna have a fence going in the center of your yard, and you're gonna need a gate there to go on the outside of it to go mow.
That's fine.
So it really doesn't help you a lot.
No, the 65 from the stream is gonna push
Yeah, it's gonna
He's allowed
push
to
it.
go
Right.
within the 100-foot
almost
buffer,
to the other
right?
side of
So
it.
that's-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It covers from the 100 feet
To the
To the
65.
35 to the 65.
right.
He's got that.
The NOI, proving the NOI will allow him to work on the 100 to 65.
That's right.
yes,
Okay.
that's correct. All right, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the NOI for 126,648. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved unanimously.
Okay, so now we're gonna go for all the money here. Make a motion, we approve the variance for DEPSE 126-648, 22 South Main Street, as drawn on the plan, allowing him to build within the 65 on both sides down to the, I'm gonna use the word grass line.
Sure.
Because that would be probably a little bit farther back from the high water mark. So down to the grass line. The fencing as described in the photographs, so there won't be a need for a critter fence, 4 feet tall, as requested. I guess that's, do I need anything else?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You have a second?
Interesting.
Second, then it brings it to a vote, right?
Yeah.
Second, right.
All right, are you seconding? All right, it's been moved and seconded to grant the variance for 22 South Main Street, NOI DEP SE 126-648. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
No.
The vote is 3-2
3 to
against
2,
against the variance, against
the vote
granting the
is 2 to
variance.
3.
2 to 3 in
2
favor.
yes, 3 no.
Correct.
2 to 3, yes. So,
Okay, so now your option is this. Your option is to go back to the drawing board, come back with some more definitive plans, and perhaps a Plan B where you're looking for a variance perhaps along the side of the pond, along the side of the stream, rather, that it'd be still 65 feet back from the water line. There's a couple of different things you can do, so that you'll need a variance to get to the edge of your property where the intermittent stream is. And if you want to go down as far as 65 feet from the water line, that could be, something you want to entertain, but that still will require a variance. Or you can go with what's been approved tonight, which puts a fence in the middle of your backyard.
Understood.
But if he comes back, I don't think that's gonna get approved. Why make him come back if
Well,
already voted no on the variance?
well,
There was a no on the variance, but
Change their mind.
I'm not sure and the board can discuss this. There's no problem with discussing this. Would you guys be amicable to allowing the fence down along, within the 65 along the intermittent stream, but still staying 65 feet back from the pond?
My opinion is that's what this vote achieved.
What was
no,
that?
it's not, because it's, the intermittent stream has its 65-foot buffer on either side of that.
Right.
My personal concern is not the intermittent stream at all. It is the fencing going into or right up to the edge of the pond. And again, it's the precedent, it's the proliferation of other people on the pond who may want to do the same thing, and they may not have an intermittent stream. So it's, as far as my decision is concerned, it's not the intermittent stream. The intermittent stream, I just want to see where the wetlands designation is that includes that. But from the standpoint of setting precedent throughout Carver is there are 7 great ponds in Carver, and all it's going to...
We've already done that, though, so- We've already done that.
I don't
Would this
mind
board
having
be
an
amicable?
informal.
I can withdraw this motion. We can back this back up again and continue forward. And would this board be amicable? I'm trying to make it easy for this guy. Would this board be agreeable to put the fence line within the 65 against the intermittent stream, stopping 65 feet from the water's edge?
I think yes, but that, I think we
Would
talked about...
that work for you?
I thought, the answer, I believe, was no. We talked about that earlier.
Well, we didn't, because he wasn't aware that he now needed a double variance because you were against the stream. So what he's got right now is 65 feet off the stream, and 65 feet back from the pond gives him a smaller fenced-in area.
I thought-
The variance to the edge of the stream would still give you 65 feet back off the pond, but let you have the full width of your backyard.
Well, that was my question, that was my question before the vote, though, I was trying to be clear that 65 is 65.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's still one variance.
Yes.
This would just be defined. It would be a variance that was, the specific wording would have been, had it been approved the other way, 65 would be approved to the water's edge and 65 to that. So now it would be, it only applies to the
Just
stream.
what is it?
All right, no, I get all that, but that's why I'd asked the gentleman, too, if he understood that we were talking about two different lines, really two lines.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I understand there's a line on from the stream and from the
Yeah.
water's edge. I just, yeah. And if I can come up to the stream and come down to the 65-foot line, that's moving in the right direction anyway. Yeah, I could accept that, and I could work with the trainer a little bit more
Okay.
on that side.
All right, so
That makes more
then,
If we're willing to do that, then I'll withdraw the motion for a variance if you withdraw your second.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, I was under the misunderstanding evidently that we had talked about that, because I had talked about the fact that you would have 35 feet between your pool fence and the water's edge. If your pool fence is at 100 feet, you would gain another 35 feet. And I thought your answer at the time was that that electric fences didn't work and you needed the fence to go all the way down to the water's edge.
Well,
But-
I'm not going to get that, so
Okay,
I'm
so if
trying
you're-
to.
okay.
I'm trying to work with
Okay.
the commission here.
And so when we're trying to work with you in the same vein. So if you're willing to, I can only speak for myself, but I do not
I said I
have
would withdraw the motion.
any issue left or right.
Dave said he would withdraw his second.
35 feet from the pond.
65.
65, rather, yeah.
Yeah.
So now, if that's been done, then I'll make a new motion. We approve the variance, 22 South Main Street, DEPSE 126648, with the following conditions. That we allow the fence to be on the intermittent pond side. How far back from the pond? I'm gonna go 5 feet.
The stream, you mean?
From the stream, rather, I'm sorry.
Okay.
5 feet from the stream?
I think there's a little tree line sort of in between, isn't there?
Yeah, there's
Along
a
the-
kind
where
of
the stream is?
a pathway with the, if 5 feet would kind of eliminate that entire pathway where the stream is on the side of the house.
I would leave it to them to make the
Okay.
decision, as long as it's not in the middle of the intermittent
Yeah,
stream.
all right.
I would just say,
Yeah.
That's
not-
fine.
Up to the intermittent stream.
up to the stream edge.
Yeah.
Up to the stream.
Intermittent.
But both sides of the fence are to be kept back 65 feet from the pond's edge.
Well,
All right.
We have, I'm not sure maybe I'm missing something as to why we're walking this back, but what is the wetland delineation from this intermittent stream?
What do you mean?
We don't know.
What do you mean? It's 65 feet.
Well, it's
No, we
prob-
have, can you
That plan is
share your
probably-
drawing again, the
it's probably
one that
the
you
bank
had
of-
from Murphy,
I mean, it's kind of-
with Murphy?
It is.
It's probably the bank of the stream, isn't it? I think it's called sort of the bank along the stream, isn't it? Where that-
It's,
Yeah,
it's the
where that-
bank
it's
right
tight.
along, it's right on,
it's probably right
It's
it's
right on the
not,
property line.
it's not,
It's not like a lot of vegetative.
So,
No,
okay,
it's
so it's
not.
gonna be top of
This is
bank.
the, this is the wetlands.
Yeah.
drainage
Top of
right
bank.
here.
Now, one thing
They
too,
don't
when
have
you
they
make
don't have
your,
the 65-foot
declaration,
on this side. This is his property.
Is it like gonna be the high
So it's
water of the
really right
pond,
along
is
the
grass,
stream
or
on
low
his
water,
side.
Yeah,
central?
like
You're gonna have to
65
say
feet.
like the high water.
Well, I'm gonna use the grass line.
Okay.
So on Murphy's side, the wetlands.
So say-
the
Because
wetlands
technically,
goes
the
out, which is
65
why
would be
the-
from the low water
65
mark.
is way up here.
And the
if you
low
put a
water mark is
65
underneath
over here,
somebody's
it's probably gonna
boat
go right
dock
along
down the
here.
other end of the pond, there's a
But
rock.
that's his house.
And
Right
that's
there.
the low
So
water
they're
mark.
well within.
Well, just make sure you say the edge of
With the
the,
house.
So we go to the edge of the water line right now, because the pond's a little low.
Sure. We moved this 65 feet.
All right, so we'll
here
go
and
to the
let it
grass
straight
line.
across. and then put the fence right
No,
along.
I'd rather go to the water line, because you
You wanna
still
go
got.
to
From,
water
from
line?
the water line,
Beach,
yeah.
right?
Well, that's
from the
why
water.
everybody's got to be on this, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Right, I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Grass in here.
I appreciate the clarification, yeah.
And where do you get your 65 from?
Well, you pick
Where
up
are you
5
starting?
feet.
Unworkable
I
because
believe it.
it doesn't give him passageway.
Maybe more,
For the
Sure.
dogs to go between the house and
Oh, my
the.
God.
maybe not.
All this
And this is already a walking path.
Huh?
So it's
I know.
fencing in, it's putting a fence
When do
between
I
the
lose my mind?
but stopping at 65 feet away from the pond.
Whatever, put it up to a vote.
Yeah,
Okay,
sad to say.
all right.
I haven't really changed my mind.
Okay.
Okay, are you with
I
me now?
already got that.
Oh, no, I get,
So we modified the
I got it
variance.
before.
Like I said, we already correct it.
I do.
Okay, is that the one that
So,
shows it? Oh,
while
that's
you
the-
guys had your little meeting, we
Yeah,
modified
do you
the
mind if I grab a
variance
copy
request
from
that
the-
would run
Is it-
the 65, it'll be
Yeah, let me see if
65
they're the
feet back from the existing
I think it's
current
just two of them, I think,
edge of the
same thing.
water. Because technically, the 65 is from the low water mark.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And that's a
Yeah.
rock that's underneath the,
Yeah, but
something
I-
somewhere.
No, that is not true.
Well, where's the 65? How do you
Had the buffers on
delineate
side,
that?
it would be-
He has a map that shows the wetlands delineation done by an engineer across the front of his property on the lakeside. That determines where the 65-foot starts.
So that would be like this little line right here.
Give me that.
Comes down from the stream and goes across the pond.
This right here, that's the water's edge, that's the wetland edge. It's farther away from the water's edge. On the east side of Sampson's Pond, the wetlands delineation is close to 80
All right.
feet away from the water's edge.
Fine. You figure it out.
So,
Where'd your variance? Pick your dimension.
okay.
Someplace in North Carver, I'm sure, it suits you very well. We have this argument because
We
this
do.
is where you get crazy with Sampson's Pond.
It's every pond.
No, it's not. With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, it is not. It is Sampson's Pond because you're in a butter. This is what you do with Sampson's Pond. Everybody that comes before this board for Sampson's Pond gets put through the ringer.
Well, we have someone coming in 2 weeks about Cooper's Pond. Let me know how you feel about that, and when you hear me talk about that. So anyway, the wording for the variance should be that, that the motion is that we approve a variance that allows a fence along the intermittent stream, the edge of the intermittent stream, to a point 65 feet from the edge of the wetlands delineation along the shore of Sampson's Pond, as shown on this map, all the way across to the other property, to the Griffith's property on the east side. Therefore, allowing the fence to go along the property line between Cole and Griffith and along the intermittent stream / property line between Cole and Murphy. But no fencing shall be within 65 feet of the wetlands delineation that parallels the shoreline of Sampson's Pond. All right. We have a motion of what I just said?
Sure, yes. Motion.
Okay.
So moved.
Does that work for you?
There's a second.
So
Second.
we get a vote, second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve a variance allowing the fence along the intermittent stream and a fence along the property line between Cole and Griffith, and no fencing within 65 feet of the wetlands delineation mark as shown on the map that was supplied. All right, so all those in favor say yes.
Sure.
Yes. Anybody opposed?
No.
All right. So the variance with that wording is approved 4-1.
It's a familiar formula.
Well,
For me, I'd peel it. So I think he's wrong.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
thank you.
I think it's also unfair.
Oh, I mean, He did go through an IEA and then between those and 10. Still get
I don't think the speed limit on 58's fair, but I have to obey
There you
it
go.
because it's a law.
Well, maybe we can appeal that too. See, and you thought we just all hugs and kisses on this board, didn't you?
You're crushing my hopes and dreams here.
I warned you
Okay,
about
let's move on before before it gets
Very matter of fact.
too late.
He's welcome to his.
you. I like it, see, he keeps it a little bit.
We were sent the minutes for both June 1st and June 15th by Jill before she went on vacation. Has everyone had a chance to look at them? So I want to have a vote on them tonight.
Like I say,
Motion to approve the minutes for June 1st as printed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of June 1st, 2022. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes for June 1st are approved.
Hold on.
So lot 11, he's just gonna withdraw that. Yeah, right, that's standing link.
Jim and Dan can't vote.
You are correct. Sorry about that.
They can't
So it's
vote
3-1, 3-0, 3-0. They weren't here.
on the
June
minutes.
1st,
All right,
June
they
1st.
weren't here, so
so it's 3-0. Okay.
3-0.
Can he still second?
No.
Voting?
I'll second it.
All right.
There you go.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of June 1st. Dan and Jim are not able to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
So it's 3-0.
Any
Make a
opposed? Hearing none.
Motion to approve the minutes of June 15th, 2022 as written.
I can't vote.
You can't vote.
Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of June 15th. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? I'm not able to vote. It's passed, they're passed 4-0.
It would be 4-0-1, actually.
401.
And it would be 3-0-2 on the other one, Ashley? Because they're here, but they have to abstain. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. What's that?
Do you have to have a quorum to approve minutes?
Yes.
Oh, you do have, you have to have a
yeah.
quorum? Even,
Yes.
like say if nobody, you
Yeah,
don't
unless
have enough
there's,
people.
no, you could have a rule of necessity if, for instance, there was a meeting and it was, there were 3 people in attendance.
Yeah.
And then by the time the next meeting came up, one of the 3 resigned from the board.
Oh.
In the case of an election, like it happened with the planning board, one didn't get reelected.
Yeah.
Now, the new people could never vote on those minutes. The
Oh,
3
right.
that they need to approve those minutes are no longer 3, they're 2.
Yeah,
So now you invoke a rule of necessity in order to be able to expedite the
right.
approval of the minutes
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that
yeah.
required, with that requirement. Motion to
that was
adjourn.
different.
Yeah, second.
I thought it was
It's moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we're out. Thank you, Area 58.